Welcome back, guys, to our 12th episode of Sembang Guling. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about the importance of strength and conditioning, okay, for BJJ, and also for all in grappling in general, okay. So this scenario has been brought up in our BJJ community because we all know that BJJ practitioner, right, they feel the technique is, like they feel like, oh, technique all matter, but we all know that that is not true. We have already been talking about that since the last previous episode. So if you guys didn't watch that episode, please go back to watch that episode. What we think about strength and size. Okay, so we already elaborate that, but today we're gonna talk about the importance, the crucial part, and why grappling or grappler or BJJ practitioner, why they need to take strength conditioning. So today's guest we have Gary Maclay. Okay, yes, he is going to introduce himself. Okay, so Gary, please take it away.
Okay, thanks guys. Thanks for inviting me to this podcast. So, okay, as you know, I'm Gary. so, I've been a I've been a trainer and also a coach for more than 10 years since 2004 until now. I've been a coach and a trainer. Previously, I used to coach Sarawak state team specialized in judo and also their strength and conditioning. And also on top of that, I train a couple of athletes, like a Korean squash junior squash player in Penang, and a few more athletes that I've been training. Yeah, so I think that's very short. What we call this introduction for me.
Okay, okay, great.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And the most
So
important of all, Gary is a BJJ brown belt
Yes, don't
yeah,
forget
judo
that.
black belt.
yeah.
Yeah, but Gary, speaking of you as a coach, right? You have been coaching for a numbers of years, and also uh, coaching with other team, not just BJJ, not just BJJ jiu-jitsu, grappling and all that, not just that, but as for you yourself, like all these years, what do you think that it's important for BJJ practitioner to incorporate S&C into their training routine? Do you think that is very important?
Yes, it is very important. Actually, it's a part of the game because you see, BJJ sports, it's not a demonstration sport. Like it's BJJ is not a kata. You need to do it live. You need to spar. You need to have a role with a person. You need to contact. So if your body are not strong enough to produce those kind of movement, even though you have a beautiful techniques, your technique is just good for demonstration, but it's not to apply. That's why some people think that, oh, this technique is not work. Actually, the technique is work. It's just that your body cannot produce that amount of force to run that technique.
Yeah,
That's it.
it's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But as far as what I know, because I trained under you before, so I know that S&C is not just about training your strength and all that, but it's also prevent you from getting injuries. Correct me if I'm wrong, because
Yes.
like
Correct.
like
Yeah.
you said, right, our sport is a full contact sport, so injuries is always there. So yeah, but I think for your knowledge and expertise, right, I think you can elaborate more on that.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you do in strength and conditioning, a lot of people think that strength and conditioning is like you need to squat, you bench press, and deadlift. This squat, bench press, and deadlift for 100 kilos is just play a 10% of the process. In strength and conditioning, we don't just push pull the weights. We work many variety of things. We're going to work on your mobility, your core stability, your joint stability, and your flexibility, and also your agility. And of course, your strength and endurance, your anaerobic and aerobic system. That's what you're going to work on. That is strength and conditioning. Lifting weights up and down, pull the weight, is just 10% of it. There will be more to it, actually. In other words, in strength and conditioning program, we change your body type. We what we call this, we program your body to another version of you. That's how. So that's what makes a difference between the athletes and the normal people. Is their strength and conditioning. That's how. Yeah. So that's why you cannot compare like a full-time practitioner athletes and the normal people. Because why a full-time athletes are way better than a normal people because they've been doing all this and that is their job. So normal people, if you don't have time to do this, then anyway, and how hard you train also, you'll never be on par with them in terms of strength, speed, agility, and your movement. Yeah.
On this part, I agree on it lah, because you know what, among three of the hosts, you know who have the best strength? Lotus Seed, Master Monk. Because you know why? He have good base. Like what you mentioned early on, he have good base. So when he do dragon, when he do, you know, I'm not sure if you never, I'm sure that you didn't hear the previous episode. He actually mentioned that his core strength in BJJ is actually dragon boat rowing.
Oh, yes.
That actually helped.
Never
Oh,
said
yes,
that.
yes. It's agree. I agree with that. Okay. Core strength, actually, a lot of people think that core strength, you need to do a lot of plank, a lot of sit up, you know, leg raise, windshield wiper, also some sort of like cool stuff for core work. Actually, it's not. It's beyond than that, actually. You can see, I take a very simple example. You know, for normal people who have a very strong core among all the normal people.
Athletes.
Now, put athletes to the side, but for normal people.
Oh, Johnson Saw lah. Who else?
Maybe.
Okay, it's like this. Construction worker.
Oh.
Johnson
Yeah,
Saw.
yeah. Look.
You see, they be able to carry a load on their hand, on the shoulder, and they walk on a plank. You don't have a good core stability, you will fall down and die big time. You see? It's not easy, you know. The job is difficult and require a very, very tremendously strong core to stabilize all the, and the things that they carry is not easy. It's not light, you know. It's heavy, you know. I'm talking about you carry what we call this, Johnson, like the concrete mixture. How they call it?
Cement.
You need to balance it, you know. Even though you put on the side of your shoulder when you walk, you need to balance it properly.
You got to balance it. And when you climb the ladder with those things, if you don't know how to balance it, you're done, you know. So that's it, you know. That's part of it. And in strength and conditioning, this program, we call it a functional strength training.
Functional strength training.
So imagine that construction workers, right? They all train BJJ, then problem.
All they need to do is pick up the techniques and enhance a little bit more on acceleration, and they're good to go.
But I noticed that a lot of people, once they have a strength, they really like emphasize on the technique anymore. I've noticed some.
Master, you need to speak louder because your voice is very soft. Yeah, you have to scream if possible.
Oh, okay.
Oh, now Lotus Seed. Yeah, that's why his name is Master.
Can you hear now?
Yeah, so much better.
Yeah, I waited your phone really. So I was thinking that I saw that some people roll, right? They're very strong, very, very strong. But it's just like they don't have to apply ABC step to get to that move. Actually, they can like do shortcut because they're strong. So how to say? So technique, I believe that for them is like totally, it's like not so concentrated anymore.
Yeah, I agree. This is because the understanding of the arts is not much. It's like this. To play a game, very important. A lot of people think that to play jiu-jitsu, your goal is just to submit and tap the person out. So
Yeah.
they don't think about positioning. They don't think about, the point system. They don't think about many other thing else. As long as they manage
Yep.
to catch your hand and pull your hands out, you are good to go. But
Yep.
if, like I say, when it comes to training, during training time, your training partners, some people might not go 100%. Okay, some people go to train to sweat out, to have fun. Not everyone there
True.
to go there to be a competitor. But then again, he might be able to do it during training, but in competition is another thing, because in competition everyone is moved the same way. Everyone is same. Everyone is conditioned as well to go to competition. So it works in a certain period of time, but not for a long time.
Yeah.
Not
And
in the long term.
Gary,
Mhm.
talking about your gym, because you
Mm.
mentioned lots of things that related to strength and conditioning and all. So is your gym able to cater if like some BJJ athlete, like some of us, if you want to do like strength and conditioning at your gym, are you able to cater for such training and all?
Oh yes, my gym is my studio is a strength and conditioning studio. It of course it's private and it's not open to public. It's only through appointment and also like for to certain people. And that my studio is strength and conditioning based studio. Yeah, not like a power lifter studio, not like a normal gym studio. That's why the layout of my studio is slightly different, and the equipment that I'm using also is different. It's more for strength and conditioning purpose.
Okay. So talking about this as an athlete, example, as an athlete, as assume we have like a match 3 months in advance. Are we recommended to like go for like your strength and conditioning like only when we have a camp, or is it like something that we have to do consistently, like for a
Strength
long
and
period of time?
yeah, you got to do it consistently because you got to periodize your training properly. There's a thing called periodization. That's the thing that determine whether you can peak on time or not. You messed up with your periodization, the whole training program is out.
No wonder Vic so strong.
My ass.
So what happened is if you start your strength conditioning 3 months before your competition, I'm afraid it won't be benefit you. You're still the same person that who you are before.
Yeah,
Trust
like
me.
when I watch those UFC fighters, right, they have like an off season and on season, right? So like even during the off season, right, they are also training, you know. So I
Yeah,
mean
correct.
not as intense, but
Mm,
they are still training, you know.
mm.
So
That's
yeah.
what we call periodization. Yeah. So periodization is throughout the year. In a year, there's a few competition that you will go to. For example, you will have like human body only pick 2 times per year.
Right.
So first will be your main competition that you really want to win gold medals. Second is like your second choice of the competition. Placing top three is good. So they have to, we call it a training competition, like a competition that you pick like 3 or 4 is for you to expose yourself. Win or lose, it doesn't matter. That's how we periodize it. So along that way, then your strength and conditioning periodization and your BJJ training periodization have to be synced. It cannot be overlap. One is overlap, you might train your body heading to overtraining or undertraining. That's it.
Talking about overtraining, let's take a serious BJJ competitors, right?
Mhm.
What is the best time for them to how many days they should train SNC and how many days they should train BJJ, or how you gonna alternate this schedule?
Okay, actually, how many days you should train BJJ? It's as many as possible. Okay, you can train 6 days a week. It's no problem. You can train 7 days a week. No problem. But then again, in that 6 days or 7 days, You cannot go full force every day. Your body will break down. You
Mm.
got to know when to hit 60%, when to bring it down to 40%. When you want to bring it down to 80%, when you want to bring it down to 50%. And that's how you adjust it. So you won't overtrain your body. So you will worn out your body. That's how it works. So you got to train smart. This is how we call it a smart training. You got to be more specific. Your training has to be measurable. And the action plan has to go according to what you've been planned. And your plan have to be realistic and your time bound.
Yeah, like those full-time competitors, right? We all know they could have trained like two times a day or 3 times a day, right? Only BJJ, okay? But what is the recommended time or how many amount of SNC that they should train for 1 week for these serious competitors?
In 1 week, for me, it depends. During the off season, because the changes of the training program, you can train like maybe like 4 to 5 times a week. So when you're coming out from your off season, you coming to your competition season. So you would like to be more specific. You will cut it down to 3 times a week. So the closer it is to the goal, the lesser you need to go. Like maybe like 2 times a week, and you can maintain 3 times a week, but you need to know how to adjust those intensity, because you need to understand there will be a weight cut in process as well.
Yeah.
When you're lifting weights too much, especially when you carry heavier weights, do more strength training. What happens is you're putting a stress on your muscles, and your muscle fibers start to break. When the muscle fibers start to break, the new fibers start to develop, and that is a strong fiber. So a strong fiber, more dense, and of course, when the muscle develop, it contain water retention as well. So it makes you more heavier. So when you want to cut your weight, it's going to be super difficult. Yes, so that's why it's very important to tune your SNC training to when you're near to your competition. Tune it down.
I remember training under you, and then I had to go for weight cut. Man, that was that was another experience, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, like that's how they say. I mean, like during our training those days, I tune your training program when it come to near the competition. It's all about short burst training. It's just like just what you need. That's it. No more lifting weights. No more this. No more that. No more like standing on the Bosu ball. No more like no more like lifting heavy weight. So it's all tuning down to a specific goal. So
Yeah.
because your body is already ready for that, and
Yeah.
of course, it's time to work on your technical and tactical for the next few weeks. Yeah, before the competition.
Yeah, but generally, if we speak about generally as a BJJ practitioner, because one thing for sure is private studio. What you mentioned earlier, yours is like private studio and you're only catering for like private clients and all. But if we talk about more specific type of BJJ practitioners and all, like I'm sure some of them like they do it like as part of their hobby, or they are doing it like just overall hobby, and some of them they might not able to like afford to like pay for like personal trainers to actually guide them because it's just part of their hobby and they're not a full-time competitors. So usually, do you have like any recommendation on what should they do differently in their strength conditioning program, or what should they do differently?
Okay, if you're a BJJ practitioner, the first thing first, I would say is don't skip warm up. That's the number one thing.
I agree.
Those rolling back and forth, rolling on the side, hand walk, or whatever you do during that warm up, that is part of the conditioning for BJJ. You skip that one, you already skip 20% of the strength and conditioning training. So like the grip pull or whatever, Kimura sit up, all those drill for during the warm up, that is a strength and conditioning for BJJ. So if you skip that, I mean to say that I'm sorry that you already skipped like half of the conditioning for BJJ practitioner. That's how. For normal people, full BJJ training is good enough, because you do like, I'm not talking about competitor, but I'm talking about for normal BJJ person. Those warm up that you need to do front roll, back roll, side roll, cartwheel, or you need to carry your friends walking around, walk on your hand. This is part of a conditioning, This is part of conditioning. It's a very good conditioning for BJJ. That's why it's there for your training. It's part of it. Because jiu-jitsu is like judo. They are brother and sister. Okay? In order to play judo, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, sambo, they are like family. To play this sport, your body needs to be strong because you get your partner might slam you, your partner might pull you, your partner might push you with force. Okay? But if your body are not meant for that, that's why you will get injury.
Mm.
But if you used to do all this, when people push you to the back, you'll be able to roll backwards because you are so used to it, because you've been training, practice it, and you can avoid an injury. But if you are not doing all that, I'm afraid then your body cannot react that way naturally. That's why you fall into injury. Simple. So don't skip warm up. Make sure you do full class.
That
So
is
that's my
very true.
advice. Okay, if you skip warm up, you're done. There's, unless you have your own strength and conditioning plan that you do before that or some other day, that is fine. But if not, don't skip warm up.
Yeah,
So
on
so
in
which
this part
means
I agree.
construction workers they don't have to do warm up when they go to the class, right?
But then that one is a different mechanic. It won't work also.
Huh?
That one is only play like 5% up for at the process. You still gotta warm up.
Yeah, Gary. But recently, one more thing lah. Yeah, I think yesterday you actually put up an announcement about you are forming up actually a team for your BJJ team. So is this part of the plan for your gym going along? Like, do you plan to like going in to like start a BJJ session in your gym as well, or you're looking at to like just do it as just part of a team
Okay.
affiliation?
I post that because the thing is, look forward. I will compete again. Secondly, I have difficulty training because of my working time.
Yeah.
So when I put that, it's open to people that willingly want to come and train with me, and I will train them. And it will be like not a normal training like normal class. It will be a specifically a competition training class whereby it's catered for a competitor. That's why I would say like some people ask me like Lotus Seed asking me, I will straight away say that it's not a beginners friendly because over there we don't play, we do, we train. The goal is after that you want to compete. We don't care the result, but we want to prepare for competition. That's it. Yep, not just technical, but overall.
So
So
yeah.
that's how.
No, so what you're saying is it will be more on catering for competition class. So can I just understand more details like what will be the difference between the competition class that you mentioned versus the normal BJJ class that we are seeing? Is there any
Okay,
difference that you
there
you
are
look into
there
it?
are a big difference actually. In a normal class, we teach fundamental, we teach technique. But in competition class, we don't teach technique, we don't teach fundamental. When you come to me, I expecting you to know something, but we work on something that you know, not something new. We make what
Mm,
you have become more sharp, I can
sharper.
say. Yeah, sharper. For example, you you have a blade, a katana, a samurai katana. So you have it very nice, but then again, it never it's not sharp to cut any object. So you bring it over, I will sharpen it for you, and you can cut it. If it never feels the blood before, that's the time you're gonna let it feel the blood. That's how. So that's its competition class. So I don't teach like how to bolo or how to do a de la Eva sweep. I don't teach all that. When you come to me, I expecting you to know all that because you come to me with something, not nothing. That's why it's not a beginner's friendly. That's
Okay.
how, yeah.
So that means that if I know Brimbolo, then I go to you, then you show me how to enhance my Brimbolo lah, by using SNC or
No,
different
no,
ways
it's not
lah.
SNC. SNC is different. There's nothing to do with SNC. My program is like the one that I say that for the jiu-jitsu is not for the SNC. It's like in overall,
Oh, so it's
we
two
don't do
different things.
SNC there. We do jiu-jitsu, yeah. SNC is another thing. Yeah, it's all jiu-jitsu. It's like, you see, for competition training, we need intensity. Those who complain that, oh, you roll using too much strength. And I'm afraid the training that I conduct is not suitable for that type of person. Yeah, so you're here, regardless with you using so much strength and not too much strength, you got to face it, you got to know how to utilize it,
Yeah,
because in competition, people don't go soft with you, man.
Yeah, but people will sue you.
Yeah. Yeah?
I thought people want to sue you last time.
Who want to sue me?
People want to sue you because you went too hard.
They want to sue me, so it's okay to sue me. But then again, on what ground? You see, we are doing contact sport.
yeah.
So
No,
and
it's
how?
just a joke.
Yeah, I know. But again, a lot of people think that. But then again, you cannot sue people because they just go too hard, and you cannot sue people when there's an cause of injury as well. Because you must understand this is a contact sport. Anything can happen. Even how soft you can go. Also, if happen that is your day is not a good day, it's like a luck. You see, you will got it. So you cannot blame on someone that because of you have a finger dislocate or whatever it is. So it is what it is.
Yeah,
So it's in contact sport.
talking about strength, right? We always like, okay, like four of us, we've been training this sport for so long. We always hear people say that techniques beat strength. Okay, what do you think about that? Because obviously three of us, I can dare to say that it's pure bullshit. You cannot say that technique can beat strength. Itself. You need to have strength.
In a certain situation, technique big strength, whereby the person that you roll with is totally beginners and don't know nothing, and your technique will beat their strength. That one I agree. But if you roll with the same level of blue belt, the same level of purple belt, the same level of brown belt, the same level of black belt, I'm afraid that's not gonna work. Big time. Trust me.
Gary, please repeat that again. It's not going to.
It's not going to work. It's not working. It's not
All right.
working. Trust me. No need to say that. Even though you have a higher belt, like me, I'm a brown belt. I play with a person that's a well-trained blue belt. I can guarantee you, not to say blue belt, four-stripe white belt. But he been trained consistently, trained elite. Okay? And he know what he's do and he's strong. I can guarantee you he can smash me big time.
Yeah.
Easily. I'm not ashamed of admitting it because that is reality, Even though you have a higher belt with you, but then again, if you don't train as much as them, as hard as them, as good as them, trust me, man, you'll get your ass kicked big time. So, common things that people say is, oh, this kid use too much strength when they roll. It won't work, man.
That's the
It won't work.
reality.
Then if you think that's how it works, then why don't your techniques can beat their strength?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It won't work. So,
But it
like I
is the
say,
same.
techniques only beat strength when the person is a beginners. They don't know what to do. And maybe they've been training for a couple of months, but can't really tell what should I do. You got what I mean? Then of course with technique easily you can sweep him, you can dominate him, you can tap in like 10, 20 times also can. But then again, when you reach a certain level, I'm afraid You won't be able to do that anymore. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but it's the same thing because think about it lah. If we reverse the role part itself, if you want to say the technique, it is not workable. We look at some people that, they are the smallest guy in the gym. They have certain amount of strength, but comparing to the biggest guys in the gym, they don't have that amount of strength comparing to the biggest guy in the gym. But they've been rolling with all these guys for the longest time. And we can see that sometimes they have those techniques to able to neutralize those big guys with strength as well. So if we really look into it, like situation, like I take example like Mok as example. Mok is one of the smallest guy in the gym. But when we really look into his technique, he's able to neutralize some of the big guys at the gym.
Yeah.
Because why? Does he have the strength comparing to a bigger guy? No, he don't have that strength. But in terms of his technique, he have ways to actually able to like neutralize all these people's strength and turn it into his advantage.
Yeah, true. But then again, one more thing. You need to understand, strength come in a different form.
Yep.
Strength is not just come from by stay static and produce force. There's a thing called in strength and conditioning. There's a thing we call it a dynamic strength and a static strength. A static strength means you'll be able to carry lifting heavier weights, like 100 kilos on your squat, for example. But can that person carry 100 kilos and walk with it? That's another thing. That is dynamic strength. In sport, you need dynamic strength. Yeah, Smoke might be a smallest person in a gym, rolling with a bigger size, but he have those dynamic strength that he can work. He can drive his technique with it. You see, if you have a techniques, but you completely don't have an acceleration to drive those techniques, it won't work. You need the acceleration to drive those techniques. So that's how. Okay, so this is what we call a dynamic strength. And athletes need to have a dynamic strength. You deadlift 200 kilos, for example, boom, bam, boom, bam, boom, bam. But can you lift the person and walk one round with it? Can you carry 100 kilos person, piggyback, or like a child's carry, or fireman carry, and walk around the training center with it? Can you do that or not? You see, that's another thing. So in sports, in strength and conditioning, that's what we emphasize. That's why I say just now earlier, bench press, squat, and deadlift or whatever heavyweight you're lifting is play only 10% of the process. There's a many more of things that you need to implement to develop an athlete. Yeah, not just lifting heavier weights to build a strength. Yes, if that person, the biggest size static, let's say Mook try to push him, he tried to push Mook, it won't work. But if we move around and try to pull him, that will work. That's how. And of course, in that situation, law of physics also apply. So that's how. Strength I still play a role because I rolled with Mook before. I know the amount of strength that he have.
Yeah.
So that's how.
I roll with him every single day, and I know his strength is totally different.
Yeah, because simple. When I had it in a side control or whatever it is, if he totally don't have the strength, he won't be able to scramble out. So to scramble out requires certain amount of strength. So that is strength.
Still a strength that you need to use. You cannot. I know those people who preach like technique beats strength itself. That is just bullshit. You
like I told you just now.
Yeah, you cannot do that.
Yeah, like I told you just now, it's like it's only applicable for maybe a beginners, that
those who have no experience.
jiu-jitsu.
But people keep saying that until like it sounds so misleading. Seriously,
it is misleading.
Because imagine, my friend, I'm one of the best in the gym, full of knowledge and technical stuff. All of a sudden, I couldn't apply all those techniques during I roll, but I can talk it out. So, in order to make it feel better, oh, they still use too much strength. That's why. That's what happened. That's reality. But people don't admit it.
Yeah, and no people would want
Good one, man.
yeah.
Understand?
No
Yeah.
people will want to admit that they're using too much strength. You know, the ego, you know, like for certain people, you know.
I mean, this is human nature. They will blame on something, you see. It's a human nature. They will
Yeah.
blame on. So
Like,
it is what it is.
you know, like for me, I'm small, I'm quite I mean like if I'm rolling with Kaishan or you or Raymond, right? I need to use strength. I cannot just rely on my technique itself.
It
You
won't
know?
work that way.
Yeah, it won't work that way.
Because
Imagine if I only use technique on you, do you think it will work? I don't think so. You know, I need
honestly
strength.
speaking, Vic, when you just use a technique on me, I just use my body weight to cuddle you. That is good enough.
Yeah, that's right.
How are you gonna work on that?
Yeah. I agree. You know, I need to use I need to scramble out, and when I scramble out, I need to use dynamic strength. You know, I need to push and I need to that one. I still
Dynamic, bro.
yeah, I still
Dynamic.
use strength. You know,
Yeah, but it's true, because when we really look into all these situations, like especially when smaller guys rolling with bigger guys, how does the bigger guys actually roll? Most of the time, they truly use some of the strength to actually keep certain position, and also they use the strength to actually move more, because when they are going against smaller guys, especially smaller guys are more agile, are more mobile. They actually move more than the
I
bigger
don't think
guys.
so.
In a way, just generally, because we can't speak for all, but generally, this is the truth. Where smaller guys tend to move a bit more than the bigger guys.
But honestly speaking, right? Honestly speaking, when I roll with Mang, it's a small size compared to me. How many kilos? Lotus seed? How many kilos are you, Lotus seed?
Huh?
How many kilo are
Me
you?
now?
Mm.
Now
Okay,
70.
maybe like before that you were like about 60 plus, right?
Oh, 68. Yeah.
Yeah. Vic around somewhere around 60 plus as well.
yeah,
And these people, like all of you, those who have experience in jiu-jitsu, I'm bigger size. Even those days I was at 86 kilos. Now it's 90 plus. If I just stay there and try to use my strength to stop these people, and still these people are gonna kick my ass. It won't work that way. I need my dynamic strength to stop these small people from moving. I need to cut the angle. I need to know where to apply the right pressure. If I just cuddle the legs or cuddle the body, it wouldn't work, man. I get my arm. That's why. that's why I was telling you earlier just now. If the person is completely don't know jiu-jitsu and they just started jiu-jitsu for a couple of months, maybe you can call them just to pure techniques, because they just simply go and hug you and try to immobilize you, like cranking
Yeah.
you or whatever. But if you play with the experienced people, it won't work. Like when I want to stop you from catching me and turning to take my bag or whatever it is to pass my guard, I have to work harder as well. I cannot just stay there and cup you into my close guard. It won't work that way. Eventually, you will escape.
Mm.
And I cannot just use my strength to pin your knee down, try to pass. It won't work. You're still gonna swim out and a hip escape and recover your position. You still, by the end of the day, you still get get the position that you want, and you'll be able to neutralize it. If
Yep.
I don't move the same way. So that's how is size don't determine the strength of that person, because when I'm talking about, we are playing sports now. We don't talk about we are lifting something from the ground. We don't lifting heavier weights. Of course, when you compare lifting heavy weights, of course, smaller size cannot beat the bigger size big time. Okay, but when it comes to a sports, any kind of sport, those size is just a matter of how well they neutralize their strength. That's how. If you neutralize it better, well, is beneficial. If not, of course, the other person will get you. Simple, even though what size it is. Yes.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you
Gary,
can
and
see. Yeah,
yeah.
you can see you can put one heavyweight against lighter weights, maybe 70 kilo to compete. But then again, if this heavyweight, the type of person that just pressing you down and slowly climb and get a position, it won't work. But if this heavyweight move like Bushesha, see how big is Bushesha? He moved like a lightweight. How are we gonna stop him?
True.
With the force that he have, with the strength that he have, you think people can stop him? Even his own weight size also cannot stop him. So that's what I mean. You see, it doesn't mean that you have that size, you are that strong. Yes, you are strong in a certain thing, but not in a dynamic way. So
Yeah.
that's why.
Yeah, and Gary, speaking of one thing, because you have like a sort of like a full-time job slash business, and
Mm,
also at the same time, you're active competitor.
mm,
And for most of us Malaysians lah, this is most of our life where we are also having like we have like 9 to 5 jobs, and also we do have the same passion for BJJ, and we do want to compete as much as possible. So what is your training regime be like for time like this, for like people like this?
like how I don't really get it.
Because now you have like full-time job where you have to like clients where you teach from like 7 a.m. up to like 10 p.m. a day, like
Yeah.
per day. But some people they have like 9 to 5 job, but they
Yeah.
still want to compete. They
Mhm.
still want to compete, and also they want to like try to like train as much as possible. So
Mhm.
for people like you,
Mhm.
example, what do you train differently, or what do you do differently for your training camp when you have like a full-time job or full-time business?
Okay. First thing first, the desire is playing an important role. How much you want that thing? Okay. You just do it for the sake of doing it because friends doing it, you will never get it because it's hard. But if you do it because you really want to do it, then you will put an effort to it. So what I do is I have 24 hours in a day. I manage my 24 hours well. I cut a few hours for my sleep, for my work, and I spare a few hours on my training. The training, when it comes to training, it's not necessarily you have to spend 2 hours for training. Training, effective training doesn't mean that duration have to be long. Effective training means it has to be specific. I can train in 30 minutes, but 30 minutes good training. And it's really specific. That's what I really want to work on. I don't have to spend 2 hours to train to get that. Okay? Like I say, I have 24 hours a day. I have 7 days a week. And I have 30 or 31 days in a month. It's just a matter of how you manage it. You manage it well, you can cope up everything in it. If not, that will be difficult. Again, it's all come to a desire. How much you want that thing. You see? If you look at it as something that is important to you, you will do what is needed to be done. But if you do it for the sake of because my friend also do it, then you will end up cannot cope up with it. Because I wouldn't say it's easy. It's hard. It's really hard. Especially like me. I start work at 6 o'clock in the morning. I wake up at 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Depends on the where is my appointment is. Okay. So I finish work around 10 o'clock. How I train is sometimes throughout the day there are a cancellation in that slot. Okay. People have meeting urgently, someone cannot make it. Yeah. So I use that time to train myself. Then after that, I go back to work again.
Mhm.
Continue work like normal. Okay. That's why in jiu-jitsu, what we call this, you see that I will show up to a training once in a while. Okay. And this is because I only can show up when my appointment is canceled or I finish early. Then I can come for a training. Because if I try to show up to every classes, by the time I reach there, you guys already finished training because it's too late already, you see? So only when there's a cancellation, and I finish early, then I will show up for training. But why I still can keep up the pace? There's a thing. Number one, the fundamental. Your basic fundamental have to be very, very, very good. Okay, and the understanding of of uh of the game and of the art are very important as well. So understanding of the game plus good fundamental plus strength and conditioning, that's what form a game. So that's why in those days I make an effort every Sunday. I take bus at 7 a.m., reach KL, go for open mats, and I come back again. Whenever there's a seminar, like for example, like Lucas Therapy seminar before, I make an effort, take my day off to go there, attend the seminar, and I come back again at that night. Big star, like even like Keenan Cornelius, come to KL, seminar on Wednesday. I take an effort to take a bus to go down, finish seminar, 12 o'clock, I take a bus back, and the next morning I continue work again. It depends on how important it is to you. If you think it's important to you, it's something that you need, you will do whatever it takes to get there.
Yeah.
But if you look at it like it's okay lah, then it won't work lah, you know? That's how. So this thing cannot be developed in a short time. This thing will develop after a long run, accumulate one after another. And I'm very blessed because I have my judo base. With my judo understanding plus the jiu-jitsu, that's how I come up with my own version of doing jiu-jitsu. For example, people say turtle position is bad because it will take your back. But I managed to neutralize turtle position. I submit people from there. I reversal. I get my position.
Your turtle position is dangerous,
All
man.
right. So why I keep my turtle position? Why I play turtle position? It's not that I purposely want to play turtle. It's just because you see I don't have a great flexibility. For example, when you play guard, people go for a double under. When they lift you up and they stack you, if you don't have a good flexibility, your disc will pop, man, big time. I feel that before. So in order to avoid that, when people try to turn me over, I just go with the flow, let them turn me, I will land on turtle, and I make my way out there. Okay? So that's why I train turtle position as well a lot, become part of my game. So in case I fall into that position, I know how to react from there. Not just stay there and do nothing. And by the end of the day, people will take it back and score 4 points. It works that way. Okay? So I got to work from there. So that's why the understanding of the art is very important. So I turtle because I don't want to get any injury from there. So for example, when people do like a leg drag, when people leg drag, they press your hip to this side and you try to turn to the other side. Basically, your body is twist this way. Okay? So you have no choice, you only can turn to the other side.
Yep.
But you don't want to turn the other side because you end up, you fall into a turtle position and the guy will take your back or they will choke you from there, you know? So, but then again, you take a choice rather to fight against the flow of the movement. So when you go against flow of the movement, what will happen to your muscles? You're putting a stress on your muscles around your lower back.
Yeah, turning it, squeezing.
Yep, your erector spine muscles were holding so much stress. You have a certain amount of flexibility around your spine, that is fine. But if you don't have like me, you ask for slip disc. That's it. So that's how. So understanding of human biomechanics movement is very important if you want to play this sport as well.
Yeah. One thing I agree, like Gary, you have like a really solid turtle position, and I get to witness like how you use your turtle position to actually flip Marat Gafurov over. If you guys don't know who is Marat Gafurov, he's a former 1FC featherweight champion, and he's a black belt. That time, Gary, I think you're just a blue belt. I think during that time.
Oh, it's white belt 4 stripe.
Yeah, white belt 4 stripes. They still managed to flip Marat Gafurov over a black belt, a legit black belt that wins most of his match by submission or by grappling. and all. And with your solid judo foundation, it actually really helps.
Yeah, it is. Foundation is very important out of all, You don't have a good foundation, you can learn whatever you want to learn. It won't work. Because foundation is foundation, Like you want to build a house. You want to build a good house. You don't have a solid foundation. You think your house is going to stand? It won't.
Yep.
Yep. This part I agree. Anyway, we are already like throughout the halfway of the session. So we're going to go on the Q&A session. So usually what do we do for our guests? I will be posting up like questions, like ask me questions and all. And this is the part where some of the crowd or some of the audience will be actually putting up like certain list of questions. Some of the questions can be like judo related question or BJJ related question, and some of it can be just certain questions that is just sometimes can be very funny questions lah. But today's question, I can tell you that it is, you only have like 3 questions, but 3 of the questions is something that I don't know why few of them actually ask these questions lah. But anyway, I'm just gonna shoot that question to you.
Okay.
Question number 1. You only have 3 questions.
Okay.
I don't know how to ask this question. Does air or air? Does air affect your performance? I don't know what does the guy mean by it lah.
Does air affect the performance? Okay. Let me answer this.
Okay.
Is it the one?
Yeah. The question
Okay.
number 1.
Okay. Yes, air does affect your performance actually. So in sports science, we are always believe when you train under a humid and a hot environment, it will reduce your performance. Why? Because you will sweat a lot and your body get dehydrated and it will decrease your performance. That's why training at the right environments are very important. No need to be too cold, but not too hot as well. It's the right temperature.
Yeah.
Like maybe somewhere around, it cannot be any cooler, maybe like if you can get like 25. Cooler than that also better, fine, but not too hot. Because you must understand, during training, you want to perform at your best. If your body get dehydrated because of heat, and how you're going to perform at your best, your muscles all break down. Your muscle memory is weak, your neuromuscular system is weak, your endurance is weak. So how are you going to perform? It won't work that way. You might feel the hang of tiredness, but you don't train to be tired. So you want to train to perform. That's how. So yes, air does affect the performance.
So I'm sure that the guy actually mentioned more on like air conditioning. I assume like it will be like air conditioning versus like non-air conditioning situation, because I didn't follow up on what does the person actually mean by
If you
it.
ask me, air conditioning, a lot of people think that air conditioning is not good when you train for sport or whatever it is. Honestly speaking, air conditioning is the best.
Oh, why?
Yes. Okay. So because air conditioning will cool down the temperature of that place. Okay. So when the temperature of that training venue is nice, better, not too hot, your body won't get dehydrated so much. And the sweat that you produce is from the intensity that your body heat produce. It's not from the things around you. That's why in my studio, I have 3 aircon. I go full blast, 16 degree, all 3. And my studio is only 700 square feet, 770. Imagine 3 aircon in 770 square feet.
It's very
It's
cold.
freezing cold, man.
Yeah.
And you will see how my clients perform. Because to me, in my type of training, performance always comes first. I want my clients to perform. I want the people that I train to perform, not just to go there to feel tired and sweat a lot. It won't work that way. If you just want to sweat a lot, you just go out for sauna. It's fine. So yeah. So yes, air conditioning will help you to perform. Of course, it's an investment, lah. But then again, you want a better result, you got an investment. No choice.
Yeah, but talking about this generally, I think generally BJJ gym in Malaysia, the gyms that I attend, the gyms that I attend, mostly don't have air conditioning or don't have aircon.
Mhm.
But when we compete, most of the time, those places that we compete are those that with aircon.
Sometimes you got to look into a situation. You see, the thing is you got to adapt, regardless how. You cannot like, unless you have a facility that is a high-tech facility like you in a National Sports Council, that is a different thing, you see. But in order to have this kind of facility, you're gonna invest a lot of money, you know. And imagine 20, 30 people lining up for one session of training with 2 or 3 aircon with 2 horsepower or 1 horsepower. They cannot ventilate the place, man. You guys still
Yeah.
die.
So
It
what
won't
you're
work.
saying in general is you do recommend that people to train BJJ under aircon.
Yes, I do. If it's suitable to a situation, then why not? It's good. It's advisable. If you're willing to take a course to pay for the course, and then why not? It's a good thing. But if not, it's no harm to have like with the fan, but good ventilation. Let's make sure that it's not it's not like you feel like you train in a sauna, something like that. Okay, so that's how.
Yeah, understand. Let's go to question number 2.
Mhm.
Just let me see question number 2. No, this is simple question. Strength or technique?
I already mentioned it earlier in a conversation. Both are equally important. You have tremendous a lot of strength. You are strong, but you don't have techniques. You end up tangle yourself or hurt yourself. You have technique, but without strength, you don't have acceleration to drive those techniques. So both are important. And just like you asked me just now, let's say if a normal practitioner, they don't want to invest, they can't really afford to invest in personal training or specific training for strength conditioning. Simple, don't skip your warm up. That is your conditioning for BJJ. Don't skip your warm up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Last question for you, Gary. Okay, this guy. I don't know. He put it. Yeah, with a question mark. He under which affiliation? What affiliation? I assume it's BJJ affiliation lah. He under which affiliation? So who
You
are
mean
you?
me?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I spoke to my friend in KL. I representing Marcos Escobar. Yeah.
Okay. So your
Now,
new the team that you mentioned in Facebook and all that will be under MEBJJ.
the team is not the one I mentioned is Facebook is not a team actually. I'm not from another team. Okay, I form a squad to train in the sense of when you train, when you come to competition, you are free to represent your own affiliation or whichever gym you at. You know, you don't have to represent me. You don't have to follow where I'm going. It won't work that way. The goal is let's train and let's create a success together. That's it. Okay, it's not like you train under me, you must represent me. It won't work because I don't have academy, and my place is not a jiu-jitsu academy. Okay, and if you have academy and you affiliate with someone, then yes, different thing. But I'm not an academy. I'm just another training ground. So that's why we call it a squad. We don't call it a team. Yeah, like me and myself, I represent Marcos Escobar. So when the time comes, yes, I do have my own level, Pogan Rollers Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's my level. That level represent the way I play Jiu-Jitsu. It's not a team. It's the way I play Jiu-Jitsu. It's my own masterpiece. This is how I play it. It's how I train it. Okay? But when it comes to competition, I will represent Marcos Escobar. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So these are just the 3 questions that is asked by the audience. So
Mhm.
now we have another exciting part of it, which is the last
Mhm.
section of the day, which is 3 of us will be asking you 3 questions.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'll go first.
yeah, let me go first.
Okay, so my first question, right? Okay, since you just open up your gym, I'm not quite sure about your plan, but what is your future for your gym? Like maybe 5 years down the road, what is your future? Like what do you see for your gym? Are you going to open another one in other states?
All right. I have a actually I have a very big plan. A big plan took times, but it's good to have a plan. And of course, in the future, my studio actually the reason I set up my studio is because of it's a goal. After 5 years, I tell myself I need to have a studio. That here it goes. After 5 years is exactly after 5 years I have my studio. So I do things according to the goal. So of course, looking forward down the road, I wish to become even bigger. Bigger not in the sense of size, but bigger in team. Like I will have my own team of a and form of fitness company. In other words, I'm looking forward into $1 million of worth of asset of the company. That's what I'm looking at. So I'm looking into a big thing, but it cannot be achieved in 1 or 2 years. You see, maybe after 10 years, 15 years, or 20 years. Let's see how it goes. If things goes accordingly, it's fine. But if not, it's worth my effort. You see, because this is my goal. And of course, in the future, when I already have like a big established gym in Penang, of course, I would like to open another branch, maybe in KL, maybe back in my hometown in Kuching. Maybe if things goes well, I can franchise this to other country. You never know. If I have a good people that work together hand in hand with me, that's how it works. Because as you know, the success of the company is not only depends on me. It depends on my team, the people that works together with me. That's what create the success of the company, not the boss. Boss can just provide the money, but the one that's gonna run those shows is your the people that work together with you with your staff. If you don't value your staff, you're dead meat, man. Yeah.
Okay. So like okay, my second question is I know that this private gym that is like happening around in Penang. So what is so different between your gym and their gym? Like what is so different? What are the
So so as you know, every trainers, every coaches have their own expertise, especially personal trainers. We have our own expertise and we have our own group of clients. The type of clients that come to me might not be the same as those people that come to another trainers. Because why? Because we have a different expertise. It's not because that we can sweet talk a person because our my place is better than your place. No, it's not. It's just because of the expertise. Our expertise are our clients' need. All right. So, for example, I'm specialized in strength and conditioning. One guy come to me and say that I want to build a bigger muscles. Immediately, I will tell them I can recommend you a trainer that can help you to go there to achieve a result. Then I will give them other trainers' contact number. It's up to them whether they want to contact or not. Okay. And like for example, a lady after they give birth, okay, they come to me, they want to train, hey, I just give birth like last 3 months ago. I want to get back in shape. Oh, since I cannot train you that way because I need to find someone that more specialized in this training program. I can recommend you a few trainers that can do this. So I will give them a couple of my friends, trainers, numbers to them. It's up to them to call them. But if they come to me, I want to work on my strength and conditioning. I want to lose fat. I want to look like aesthetically look athletics. Yes, you come to me. Then I will work on you. But or you want to improve your performance? Yes, I would talk. I would do it. Improve performance means not just athletes. I have clients at 85 years old, two-time bypass, survivor of ex-cancer patient. The goal is to go back on fit so he can go hunting, he can do this, he can do that. Yes, I train them also. So that's what I do.
Okay, totally agree. All right. So, okay, question number 3. Now, this is more about BJJ, okay? Like, how do you see yourself in maybe 5 or 10 years' time in your BJJ journey? Are you still going to compete? Because we know that you have existing injuries right now, but maybe 5 years or 10 years down the road, what do you see yourself in? this BJJ world?
5 to 10 years down the road, I will still compete. I will never stop compete. I will still compete. But it depends on the level of competition that I want to compete. Maybe now, when I give myself another 5 more years, maybe 10 more years if can, to see how much my body can take it, I will still compete in adult. Okay? I will still compete in adult. Why? Because it's not because that I want to prove myself that I'm better. It's not. Because I start late in this jiu-jitsu. I start in my mid-30s. Okay? So I never had those experience competing with the good young athletes. You see? I don't mind I get my ass kicked really bad in the match. I don't mind, but it will be a good experience for me, Then I know this is how it feels like, So this is a standard, So after a while, so when I decide to slow down, then I will start to compete in masters category.
Right.
Same thing. It's not because I just want to win medal. It's because I just want to keep compete. I want to keep my feet busy. I don't want to let my feet go to sleep, So because as you know, this jiu-jitsu is a very practical sport. You need to be able to demonstrate. You need to be able to roll with your student. If your feet go to sleep as you age, and you just stand there and give instruction and ask your student to do it, after 3 months, your student will run away from you. Trust me. Because jiu-jitsu is a very practical stuff. It's not a theory stuff. Okay? Not something you can just talk it out.
Yep.
And of course, why I will still compete again when I train in the future, when they decide to slow down, when I start to teach what we call this masters, when I start to compete in masters, that's why I start to teach. That's why I start to open my own BJJ academy. So when I teach my student, I want to teach based on my own experience, not based on how these people from the internet do it. It won't work that way, Of course, techniques from the internet is very important to give you extra input, but plus the experience that you have, you create a bomb. That's how it works. Okay, so you can understand better. So that's answer your question, right?
Okay, yep. That is for my part. Next person.
Let Master Lotus, Master Dragon Boat. Mang does
Stop
Dragon Boat
that
for his
Dragon Boat
SNC.
shit lah, okay? Why every time have to cyberbullying and say Dragon Boat lah, construction workers that kind of all this
No
kind
one
of
said
things.
construction workers. I didn't say construction workers. Dragon Boat, yes, I said because you told me that you do Dragon Boat.
That was 16 years old, man.
You told us you do
Oh,
SNC
Rambla,
and you told
bro.
us you do Dragon Boat.
Yeah, 16 years old. Now
Yeah, that's
I'm
the
43.
base of your SNC.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Focus on Gary.
Yes.
Focus on Gary. Hey, Gary, you like how to say you know so well about all this like training, getting how does the body work, this and all that. What do you eat actually?
Okay, what I eat.
Do you put a lot of effort into like dieting or?
I believe in this what we call this balanced diet. There's no specific diet here.
Was it clean type of diet or what?
To me, what I consider as clean diet is as long as you don't get food poisoning out of it, you eat clean diet.
Tom yum seafood.
I don't really like like eat like sometimes I did because just one thing is because I just feel like want to do it. One thing is because I'm too lazy to cook. I can cook, but to chop all those onions, to chop all those to prepare and bring to work to cook, take time. So if ever you see that I do a meal preparation because of two things. One, I want to save my money. Number two, I have to cook a quick meal for myself. Simple.
Simple meal.
All the chicken breast, whatever it is I marinate it by hand at night. In the morning, I wake up at 4:30 because I start work at 6. I wake up, the first thing I do, I put all my chicken breast inside my oven together with the vegetable, everything. Put it into 30 minutes. I go shower. By the time I come out, everything is cooked. I keep everything and I'm ready to go to work. It's that quick. That's the reason I eat clean. If you want me to eat like normal, good, nice dishes, I have to cut all this, I have to fry it, I have to cook this. Dude, I don't have time for all that. So that if I'm this that is if I'm not lazy. But sometimes if I'm lazy to cook or to prepare to do this, I just eat outside. Normally I would just had like maybe economy rice. It's a good food one. Or maybe I will had like chicken
Oh,
rice.
you actually do eat those like normal street food,
Of course.
huh?
What else? Not all the time you have to eat steak, man. I'm
No,
not like
I
fish,
thought you would be
okay?
eating all this like clean food, this and
Huh?
all that.
No. But then again, it's to me, I know many people is not agree with me, but I apply this to myself, I apply this to my client, and it's work. It's not about what you eat, it's about how you eat. You eat the right way, you have the right eating habit, you're on shape. If you don't have the right eating habit, you're out of shape. Simple as that.
You are what you eat. Yeah.
Yep. Sometimes you eat with pleasure. Oh, I like this chicken. You eat like so much of chicken. Oh, I like this. You eat so much of this. But what if you eat a little bit of this and that and this and that? When you're hungry, then you eat again. You eat what your body needs. I don't think you will go wrong with this.
Yeah.
Sometimes our body don't need ice cream. We still want to eat ice cream because it's just like we feel like you wanted to. See,
Yeah.
that's why you can go to I eat nasi kandar as well, but not all the time. I eat nasi kandar with gravy. The one that I eat with gravy maybe once a week or 1 month only 2 times. But most of the time I eat at nasi kandar. Number one, because it's fast, it's convenient, it's 24 hours. Anytime got food one.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. So I will eat white rice, decent amount of white rice, not too much, and maybe chicken, no gravy, and maybe the steamed bendy, eggs, and chicken or fish or whatever I want on that day, and small rice without any gravy. Most of the time I eat like that.
Oh,
And
okay. What's wrong with the gravy? Was it very
okay,
fattening?
no, it's not about very fattening. Once you start to eat gravy, it will increase your desire to eat. So you will start to want to have it more and more and more. It makes you
So it's not
appetite.
because of
Nah.
it's something
Okay,
bad of
of course,
gravy.
it's
It's
still
just because it will increase the desire.
yeah, it's still fattening. It's still fattening, but at the same time, it increases the desire to eat. So you turn to eat more. So you eat more, you're overeating. After you eat spicy
I
stuff, you want
see.
sweet stuff, and you order teh tarik instead of teh o kosong. That's how it goes. Because if you drink
And
ice kosong or whatever kosong with a gravy which is rich with gravy or with very tasty food, you still like something is there, it's stuck. You need something sweet to flush it off. Teh
Yep.
tarik, Nescafe tarik is the best. So that's why. So of course, once in a while, I will eat with gravy as well. I love the gravy as well. I won't say that I don't. I did. Yep.
Right. Question 2,
Mm,
Gary.
yes.
Why your leg looks smaller?
Why my leg looks smaller?
Yeah,
Okay,
compared to your upper body. Your upper body looks.
definitely number one. Especially my calf. Sometimes it's genetic. You know, my body contain high with a fast twitch fiber, so my muscle fiber is more dense, and based on your genetic as well. Normally,
Oh,
those who have a bigger calf, normally they will have a more slow twitch fiber. So that's how. That's why I say Usain Bolt. The leg is small as well, but upper body is
oh,
big.
it's not because you skip leg day, right?
No, I have no choice, but I have to do my legs exercise more than my upper body exercise because the moment my leg is weak, my knee is locked again. As you know,
Oh yeah,
as you
that
know, my
you
knee,
told me that you're using the
yeah,
muscle to support
yes,
it. Yeah.
my right knee has no ACL at all. It can lock at any time, even while sleeping. So I have no choice. My leg muscles have to be strong. Strong means it's not big. Strong means the what we call is
Solid.
the volume, the density of the muscles. That is strong. Okay, and so it will hold the stability of my knee. So I'm using my muscle to stabilize my knee, basically. That's why you can see every time you see I pull triangle, if I cannot finish, I let go. If I force to finish, I will pop my own knee again. That's how bad it is. So I do my leg day every day. Not just every day, like most of the time. I never skip. I will skip my chest or back muscles, but not my legs day. There's no way I can like. That's why most people will say that, hey, why you're limping today? Is you injured? No, it's not. I just had my leg day yesterday. Yeah. So there's no way I can skip. So again, it's genetic also sometimes. Of course, I can change that genetic if I take human growth hormone or steroid. Then that
No
will change.
way. Why
That
I
will
want to do
change.
that? Right?
No, I mean like if I want to look aesthetically better, good, that's the only way to change it.
So which is mean now your condition, everything is just like it's all purely on hard work. There's no shortcut or any extra
No
boosting.
shortcut, man. Lazy a little bit, I'm off grid. That's it. My type of lifestyle, I cannot be lazy on myself. The moment I lazy, even I walk on the street, my knee will lock. That's how bad. And I have a very bad flat foot. I will have a very tight foot and calf muscles if I don't work myself properly. So no time to be lazy. That's for me.
Right. Third question. Something this is slightly little bit personal.
Mm.
Gary, I noticed the back of your neck, there's one lump.
Mm-hmm.
Does it annoy you or but sometimes it grow very big, sometimes it doesn't. Do you feel
Because
anything?
okay, this is actually it's a fat. It's not a lump.
Oh, it's a fat.
Yes, there's a name for it actually, but I forgot what was the name for it.
Sometimes
I
I
think
saw it like it turns
oh,
smaller. But
yeah.
sometimes it's like wow, it's like super big.
If you see that I put in so much fat, right, it's grow bigger as well. When you see it smaller, when I cut my weight down, it becomes smaller.
Oh, when you cut your weight down, it turns smaller.
Yes, not only have here, I also have here on my wrist.
All right.
So it happened this way actually. I've seen a doctor before because I get worried about it as well. The doctor was telling me, okay, this is a fat. So
Oh,
how
you
this thing
actually go to see
happen is,
doctor.
yeah. Well, how this thing happen is I injured certain amount of muscles there, quite bad, maybe in training or whatever it is. That's what the doctor says. Yeah, I accidentally injured those muscles. So after that, the fat will grow in that area to protect those injury parts.
What the heck?
Yeah,
Oh, to
that's how
cover it.
human. Yeah, that's just how human body works. I mean, that's based on what the doctor told me. So if I want to remove it, also can. If I choose not to remove it, also can. But it will grow big and smaller. And this thing is just not inside my muscles. It's just beneath my skin, on top of my muscles, not even attached to my muscles. Like you can see,
Oh,
like you can see, there's a channel in social media in YouTube. There's a
Doctor
doctor in the
Pimple.
state.
Yeah.
They go and cut
Doctor
and
Pimple
remove
Popper.
the
Yeah.
huh?
Doctor Pimple Popper.
Yes. So they do this kind of thing as well. You see how they remove and
oh,
they remove, it's a chunk of fat like that. That's it. Then after that, they sew it back. Then okay already. Yeah, that is the thing.
you don't feel anything, nothing.
No,
It's not
it's fat.
annoyed at all.
It's not
It's like
annoyed.
normal, right?
It just annoyed me when I look at the mirror.
Not the aesthetically. I mean like
The
normally,
rest is no.
but
Beside that,
but
no.
but
But I
normal
will
people
plan.
look at it. They didn't. I don't think they will notice.
Yeah. But I will plan to get it off when I go back to my hometown by this December. So I will go back and then I will get it done there. So I will just go and see my uncle.
Right.
My uncle is a skin specialist, so he just can do the surgery for me. Yep,
All
and
right.
remove it. Mm.
All right.
Anything else?
Raymond's turn.
Oh.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay, Gary.
he
Mm.
always say simple one, but how,
Yeah,
quite
yeah. It's
difficult
it's
to
really
answer.
very simple.
Now, see again.
Out of judo, BJJ, MMA, I think so far you've been competing in 3 different sports. Which is your favorite
Uh,
in competition?
Actually, my favorite, I would say that pole is my favorite. I'm not more one-sided than the other. The reason I stopped judo is because of my knee. The reason I stopped MMA also is because of my knee. But the reason I still in jiu-jitsu is because I have a choice to play from my guard. I can protect my knee. So that's why everyone is trying to pull my right legs to the knee bar. Before they pull it, I will tap. Simple. Even in competition, if that thing happened, I will still tap. It's not worth to injure myself further. You see? That's how. Because judo, I pick in judo as well. MMA, I consider pick in MMA, but unfortunately, I get injured throughout my career, so I have to pull out early. If not because of injury, I think I was still fighting MMA. Not now, maybe last 3 years back, I was still fighting, or 4 years back, I was still fighting MMA. But it's just my injury stopping me from doing it. Yes, there's an option for the operation. Operation is one thing, but recovery is another thing. I might be able to afford the operation, but the recovery, you don't get the good recovery team to help you to recover as a sportsman, you never made it. Your career will also going down.
Right.
And what's sad is when the doctor says that when they do the operation for me, he take a tendon from my from my thighs and do it as an ACL on my knee. And after that, you say that anyway, how hard you train, you will lose 20% of your speed. I don't mind to have my knee locked all the time, but I wouldn't want to lose my speed in my sport. That's it. Because with the current situation, I still can lifting heavy weights, not too heavy, but still lifting heavy weights at the weight that I desire to lift. I still be able to run. I still be able to sprint. I just cannot change direction fast, and I cannot pivot. That's it. I don't play football here, and I don't play MMA. That's why I don't do no-gi. No-gi required to be like have a certain amount of acceleration. At the same time, you need to be quick in your changing of your direction when you're on your feet. So with gi, it can be manageable. I wouldn't say that it can be done. Can be done. That's why I've been doing it. you know. So when people say that, when I told people that I don't have ACL, people will freak out. Hey, but how come you can still play that way? Just a matter of how you understand your own body, then you'll be able to do it. I would say, yeah. There are a lot of study to it, but then again, it's worth it if you love if you love things that you do. So my answer is, I love all of it, regardless jiu-jitsu, MMA, or judo, both of it. Yes. Let's say if I have no problem, I will still compete in judo as well. I will compete in masters. In Japan, every year they have masters competition in Kodokan. I will compete. My friend went there before last few years ago. It was fun. I would like to compete there as well. But then again, yeah, my knee is not advisable. I not even can play football. I like football, but I cannot play football. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so this is my answer to your question, Lemon.
Yeah. Question number 2. Because you're partly, I think one of the things that you're well welcome or you're well known among many people to be one of the friendliest guy around. And BJJ politics is something that is unavoidable because it's basically politics like in general is something that you can't avoid, and especially in the community where even though it's a small community, we still do have like politics here and there and all. How do you avoid getting yourself into such politics and all?
Simple. Just play BJJ and accept the fact, we are human. Human have their own attitude. Human have their own way of doing things. Human have their own mindset. You cannot expect people to be like the way you want it to be. It won't work that way. You want to be in a community, you want to be blend with others. You have to accept everyone, regardless what their attitude is, how they live their life, and what is the advantage, disadvantage, So You got to live with it, you know. So your goal is, what is your main goal? You want to play jiu-jitsu? Yeah, you just jiu-jitsu, you know.
Play politics.
Yeah, you want to play politics, then play politics. Then it's different. It depends on what is your interest. And like for me, I would love to be like, you know, play jiu-jitsu with everyone, you know, like everyone, you know. My goal is, I want to train jiu-jitsu here. I have no time for, you know, to all this, and this. I don't care, you know. This person's like this. It's up to him. It's him. It's not me, you know. It's nothing to do with me. So who cares, you know? So yeah, that's how I look at it, you know. But then again, for me, jiu-jitsu is number one, you know, like that's the reason, you know, I just want to play jiu-jitsu. Yeah, that's how I avoid it. Not to say avoid it, I would say that I avoid it. It's just that it's there. I aware, but I just don't bother. That's it. I won't say I avoid, I just don't bother. That's it.
Yeah.
And I don't really care about what's going on around because none of my concern. Yeah, that's me, you know, because for me, I just want to play jiu-jitsu. That's it.
Yeah.
Fish bump, roll, I tap you, you tap me. After that, finish, fish bump again, happy, go home, have a good sleep. Simple. Don't stress unnecessary because I have so many things that I need to stress about. Not just this. uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And last question, which is the most simple question of all.
Again.
No, when I say most simple, can be very simple. Your favorite
No.
country to compete.
Huh?
Your favorite country to compete.
Okay, my favorite country to compete is not the country that I want to compete. It's a competition that I want to compete.
Oh.
So next year, 2022, my goal will be compete in Asian Open in Japan. Thing goes well, I will compete in 2023 European. And if I manage to get my visa to the state 2023, I will compete in Worlds. So these three, that is my main. I will never stop competing and train hard if I never achieve this. It's not about winning. It's not about losing. It's about being there, compete, and gain experience. That's it. Win. If I win the competition, it's fine. I'm happy. But if not, it will be a good experience. I will never stop doing it. The reason I say like just now, I said that I'm gonna slow down after a certain years. So when I said that I will stop competing in European, in Asian Open, and in Worlds, then only I will say that I will slow down. But until then, I will still go. Since I'm still a brown belt, I better make the opportunity of this. Because in the future, maybe in 20 years down the road or 10 years down the road, who knows? Boom. Once you're black belt, it's not easy to compete in IBJ because you need to qualify to be in the worlds. So that's how. And in adult, you know that it's not a joke, you see?
Yeah.
So you got to be in a certain level, you know, to compete in black belt adult. So to qualify is so difficult. So since I'm still a brown belt, make this opportunity because I still compete worlds without qualifying myself to compete in world. So that's how. So let's see how it goes. Hopefully things goes according to my favor. When things go according to my favor, then things will goes well. But if not, it will worth my time trying. For me, I never regret any step, any things I do. Never regret in my life. Yep. So, but I will regret if I never tried. I will try it. Yeah. So by right this year, yeah, this year, next year is supposed to be European that I plan, but things didn't goes well. Not everything have to go according to our plan. So it will be like 2023 when things goes well. Yeah, I will go compete in European. Then after that, from European, I try to make a visa. If my visa approved to the States, then I compete in world. Then maybe on and off, maybe this year Worlds, following year Abu Dhabi World Pro, or I would just juggle either one. Both are good competition actually. So when talk about country, there's no like favorite country that I want to compete. I'll compete in every place that we have a competition. And I plan to compete more in Malaysia as well. I cannot just go to like European or Asian Open without compete in locally, you see. It doesn't work that way, man. It won't work that way. You have to prepare yourself because you don't want to go there to try your best. You want to go there to give all your best. If you're not prepared here, how you gonna give your best there? You not even know where you at. Is
Sure.
it? So you gotta be well prepared here. You gotta compete here a lot. Then after that, you go there. Then you can give your best. If not, too bad, man. You just go there. Whoa! I compete IBJF, man. Just for the glamour of it, it won't work that way, bro. It don't work in my dictionary that way. Yep. So that's how.
Yeah. And last questions lah. This is the last question as a closing question for all. No, this is the closing question. Usually we do ask this. So what's your advice to the audience? Like, do you have like any advice on BJJ or strength and conditioning to any one of them?
Oh yeah, I have actually advice though. I like to give advice to people because I'm getting old. So that's why I feel like I want to get advice to people. So okay, this is my advice. Number one, when you train jiu-jitsu, make sure you go to a full class. Unless you are too busy with your work, you finish work late, you show up late, it's fine. Don't skip your warm-up. You skip your warm-up, you skip the process of the training. Training is not about rolling. You can roll all the time, like most of the time, but trust me, there was something is missing. Training is about the whole program, like from the warm-up until the cool down. You have to go through all that. If you have a chance. If you don't have a chance, it's fine. One thing. Number two, stop comparing yourself with your training partners.
Mm.
There's no one who's better than who's. There's no gym is better than that gym. No,
Exactly.
no. Please don't compare. Even when you go to competition, don't compare yourself with your opponent. Don't compare because that's what bring you down. Okay.
Sure.
The reason you win a competition because your preparation meet opportunity. In other words, we call it luck. That's why you win. If your preparation don't meet opportunity, you will never win. Trust me, even how hard you prepare. Okay, so don't compare yourself with anyone else. Just train and be better because jiu-jitsu is not a demonstration sport. It's a contact sport. It's a practical sport. You need training partners to train with. If you keep on compare yourself with your own training partners, by the end of the day, your training partner will run away from you big time. So you have a problem. Okay? So that's my second advice. My third advice, what's my third advice? Just
What's your third advice?
well, my third advice. Okay, that's in my head. Okay, because I'm talking too long about this comparison thing. This just now. Okay, my third advice: don't be scared to tap. Tap is not losing.
Yeah.
Okay, tap is not losing. You tap because one thing, two things, not one thing, two things. One thing, your training partner did a good job. He managed to assemble his techniques on point. That's why he can catch you. Number two, you are sloppy. You're not aware what is coming. That's why you get caught. Okay?
Sloppy.
Yes. So never, ever, ever come up with an excuse when you get tapped.
Oh, my neck injured lah. I tap not because you submit me. I tap because my neck pain.
Yeah.
My shoulder.
Yeah. So I mean, like sometimes it did happen, but if it's too frequent, people know that you are faking. You see? So yeah, don't be afraid to tap. I get tapped out many times. I don't mind to get tapped out. No, I mean like it's true. I mean like no,
No, he
Johnson,
lied.
I mean like it's happened that I get tapped. I get tapped really. And when you roll, and this is my fourth advice. When you roll with the newcomer, the white belt, and the beginners, you as a senior, you need to guide those people in rolling, not smashing them.
Correct.
You, especially when you have a newcomer, even though he's a blue belt or whatever belt, they come to your gym, come to training together with you. Your goal is to guide them, make them feel comfortable, not beat the ass out of them. Okay, it won't work. It don't show that how great you are. You see,
Yep.
you just show that you are another ass. Okay, so don't do that. Okay, because you will lose your reputation out of this.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if the person come with tremendous amount of ego, and you have the right to tap him left and right, or
Ooh, I
or
always love that part, man.
or if the person come just for the sake of trying to compare himself with others, and you have the right to teach him a lesson to be humble a little bit. I mean, like I made it. I did that. Okay,
Agree. Good.
I did that. You know, you come up with a certain amount of attitude and make sure that you learn, because this is not with this in this place. Everyone want to learn. You're not here to show that how great you are with the rest of the people.
Yeah.
You know, so you try to do that. Then I will show you a few ways of not to do that. I mean, like in the technical ways. Yep. So that's how. Yeah. So that is my advice. Yeah, that is my advice. So if you take this advice, trust me, you will play jiu-jitsu in peace. Injury is less. Hate among
Politics
others
less.
is less. Okay. And the community grow bigger. And the last one, the level, the standard of the jiu-jitsu level is higher as well.
Mm.
You lack of these four, you remain the same. Trust me. So that's it. That is my advice.
Okay.
Very good advice. Seriously. Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, we are coming to the end of it. So those who are watching this and they want to like train themselves to be like athletes and all that, right? Please go find Gary Maclay. His new gym is at Prima Tanjong, but you guys can search him in Instagram and Facebook. So if you guys want to get into like athlete performance and all that, or SNC, because even though you're not in BJJ but for other sports, right? If you want to look for SNC, go find Gary Maclay. Okay, he is the man. He will gear you up. He will get you ready. Just give him a call, DM him on Instagram, or message him on Facebook.
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah. On top of that, thank you very much, Vic, for helping me to highlight it. And yeah, please don't just show up to my studio, because my studio door is always closed all the time. Unless if I don't have training, it will open, because
I don't have
need the
training, then it
volunteer
will
to
be
train
open.
people, okay? And sometimes I'm not there. So you need to text me by hand, WhatsApp me, reach me out through WhatsApp, or DM me on my Instagram or Facebook. And also, if I don't pick up the call, please text me. Sometimes I forget to return back the call. So yeah, so just text me, okay? Before you want to
Alright.
come to talk about it. Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you so much, guys. I'll see you guys
Yeah.
again. We'll see you
Alright.
guys again next
Thank
week.
you, Gary.
All right,
you,
thanks,
everyone.
guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you. See you
Bye.
guys at the gym. My wound is healed up, so I can come and roll now.
Sure. See you maybe tomorrow.
Tomorrow no. Tomorrow is working. Maybe Monday.
Yep. See you on Monday.
If not
Alright.
Monday.
See you on the
maybe-
mat. Bye, man. Bye-bye.
Alright, see you guys. Bye
Bye,
bye.
guys.
Bye.